Hello everybody, Keller Williams International. How are you guys? Thank you for joining us here on a Tuesday afternoon to learn a little bit about customer experience. And when I say that, I really mean a jaw-dropping customer experience where we can get into a higher level of repeat and referral business. And I want to talk for a while about what it means, why we even care about customer service when everything seems to be getting automated, and how that is going to improve your business and frankly make your business a little bit more resilient as we enter the next shift. So what I want to do is jump into this. I'm going to try and cover a lot of ground in a short period of time here, create some value, teach you guys a couple things right off the bat, share with you a little bit more about what our program, this jaw-dropping customer experience group program, offers, and then answer some questions. I'm here to really make your businesses a little bit better in a short period of time, and hopefully you'll find that there's a lot of value here to come back and join us over the next 10 weeks as we roll out the entire program starting tomorrow. So let's get right to this. And I want to talk about MREA too. And you guys, those of you who were at Family Reunion in February, bear with me here because I think this is a really important point that Gary made. And that is, since he wrote The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, lots of our business has changed. Our industry has undergone some massive changes in technology and mindset and structure of teams. But one thing remains the same, and that is that our business is built around 3 points of a triangle: leads for listings, getting the listings, and then leverage to make you as profitable as possible, first through technology and systems, and then later, if you choose, through talent. That hasn't changed. What has changed is that our value proposition as an industry, actually let me rephrase that, as an industry we have not done a great job of explaining our value proposition, and so there are all kinds of investment dollars out there trying to disintermediate us from our commissions. And while we're not price fixing here, generally speaking, we're usually at 2.5 or 3% on one side of a sale, and that's billions and billions and billions of dollars that are being spent on real estate agents and commissions. And so technology says we don't see the value proposition. We're going to try and change that relationship between agent and client with technology. And so what Gary was saying is that that will in fact could threaten our business model if we don't do something, and that one thing is building a wall around this business model. How do we defend this business model? Well, the first thing is we've got to be able to very succinctly communicate our value proposition as real estate agents to our clients. And we need to be able to do that succinctly and professionally so that we can win them as clients. When we do that, we give them excellent service. The experience that they have with us when they're buying, selling, or investing in real estate is going to determine the nature of our relationship after we close. We've got to give great service and make it a great experience so that they stay in our database afterwards, and we have the permission from them to stay in relationship and to continue to add value for them in the relationship after the closing. If we can communicate our value, create a great experience, and then have permission to stay in relationship and continue to add value, that is the wall we can build incredibly high around our business, and that is how you create an incredible repeat and referrals business model. And the funny thing is, up until 15 years ago, that was the business model in real estate. Then technology happened and messed everything up, and now what's interesting is that it's the exact same business model that's going to bring us back to our clients. And I can tell you that a repeat and referral business model is technology-proof and it's recession-proof or shift-proof. So my intention when I teach people about customer experience is to say to you, customer experience is not a feel-good thought. It is absolutely positively a lead generation activity. It is a polished one. It's not as aggressive, direct, or immediate as calling an expired or for sale by owner, but it absolutely is a lead generation platform, and it absolutely is done intentionally with the benefit of creating a larger number of referral clients on an annual basis. So what's the cost of a bad sale? Well, sometimes we have to throw a commission at something to fix it, but it goes much worse. What happens if our client writes a negative online review about us? Once upon a time, you could get away with kind of a slash and burn sales mentality and move on to the next client. Well, with the power of the internet, everybody has the entire world as their audience. And one negative online review can really kill you. In fact, that was our experience, and I'll share some of that in our program. Perhaps even worse is the peer-to-peer negative experience sharing, which is the so-called cocktail party event where somebody says, hey, I'm thinking about selling their home, and they say, oh, well, you don't want to work with Peter Chabris, let me tell you why, and they tell their horror story or their perceived horror story. So those are all lost referral opportunities. They're lost commission opportunities. And while the sale is great and the commission check at the end of the sale is great, the real value is the future repeat and referral business that you can garner from the right relationship. And this is kind of a silly question, but let's ask it. What is the highest margin, lowest competition source of business to acquire? It's referral business, guys. 82 or 86% of customers say they would use the same agent again, and yet less than 20% do. Why is that? Part of it is because we're not knocking their socks off with an emotionally charged, highly memorable, and highly positive experience. And the second piece is we fail to keep in touch with them. So what would it look like if every client that we worked with referred us a sale a year? Our business would explode, and that absolutely is possible if you're intentional about a great experience for your clients and you're equally intentional about staying in touch with them after the sale. So what's average? Well, average, according to the National Association of Realtors, is that 21% of your business comes from repeat and referral. Well, okay, average is average, and you wouldn't be interested in a learning event unless you were interested in better than average, so let's double that. Let's take it to 42%. Let's figure out how we're going to create a superior, repeatable, and this is the part I love, referable customer experience. So if you're at that 20% referral rate, great. When we've done implementing these systems, my intention is for you to be at least a 40% referral rate within 12 months' time. Now, it's going to take some work. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves, but the great news is we're doing this right now where you have time to re-overhaul your systems, your mindset, and your tools and processes before the beginning of the year and kick off 2017 ready to start raking in a higher rate of referrals. Oops. And most importantly, I want you guys to improve the profitability and sustainability of your business. Now, some of you guys might be saying, you know, Peter, I'm already at 50%. I'm already at a 50% referral rate, and that's great, and I'm really excited for you. But I'm curious, how much of that is done systematically, and how much more could you be getting if you were systematic about your customer experience? And so I want you to think about that when we're going through some of our questions today. Ginger Bartolini, if you have no sound, I would encourage you to log out and log back in and see if you can get sound. If anyone else is not getting sound, please let me know by pressing the question box. Thank you. Very good. And really, and this is the piece that I think is the most important as we get really busy and if we're getting very successful, is you start to sometimes even resent the relationship that you have with your client because you're so busy. So we're going to talk about how being intentional about better experience and some of the communication skills that we can use will give you a better relationship with your client, a better working relationship where you're in more control and you're not being ground up all the time by your client. And to me, that's priceless. All right, so let's look at what great customer experience looks like in terms of return on investment. I want you to take the number of METs in your database. So a MET is somebody that knows who you are, knows what you do, sell real estate, and would support you in that action. That's a MET. It could be a past client, it could be your mom or dad, it could be your family, it could be your fraternity brothers, whatever. Take the number of METs and divide that by 10. Why 10? Because according to the National Association of Realtors, the average homeowner stays in their home 10 years before they move. So that tells you the number of people in your METs that will be moving every year. And then multiply that by your average commission. So what's an example of that? Let's say you had 180 METs in your database. Well, if 1 in 10 are moving every year, that's 18 sales opportunities. In Cincinnati, our team's average commission is $7,500. So if I multiply that by 18, that's $135,000 worth of gross commission income that I can earn by just doing a better job creating a great experience with my clients and then staying in touch with them afterwards. Like I said, this is legitimate lead generation stuff. And that's what your income should look like from repeat business if you're rolling out a great customer experience. That's what CX stands for your clients. Now, what if 1 out of every 20 people in your database referred you a sale that closed annually? Well, then you would take your total METs in your database, divide it by 5, right, because that's 20%, and multiply it again by your average commission. Let's look at this. Same case, 180 people in your database, 1 out of 5 refers you a sale. That's 36 sales, and an average $7,500 commission is $270,000 in GCI. Now you add that to the 135 that we just talked about, that's $405,000 of gross commission income that's available to you with a pretty, not a huge database of 180 people that know who you are, know what you would do, and would support you. Is anybody else, Ginger, I'm sorry you're having audio problems. Is anybody else having any audio problems? If you are, please raise your hand in the question section. Otherwise, this is being recorded, and we'll be sure to email the recording out afterwards. Very good. So let's keep proceeding here. So what makes a great customer experience? Well, there's three pieces, almost like a three-layer cake here. The first is communication. If we can't communicate well, we're going to be horrible salespeople. We've got to be aware of behavior in our clients. We need scripts and dialogues. And yes, that applies to customer experience. It's not just for taking a listing. And we need some skills in terms of setting expectations, future pacing, our clients, and also some skills around conflict resolution. The second step, or the second layer of a great customer experience is systems. If you're not being purposeful about anything that you do, you don't have systems behind it, there's no consistency. If you have an off day or if you've got somebody covering your business and there's no systems in place, then that customer experience that you're working so hard to hone and set as a standard for your industry and your market can be compromised. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, Peter, we just lost you for a minute, but you're back.
Okay, can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, if I can hear you, everyone else, so we should be good.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, everybody. I don't know what just happened there. We've been having some audio issues. Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. I see that we're good. Thank you for that. Okay, good. We have to have systems for before we meet our client and then after we've signed up our client. We have to have systems and communication standards for when we're working with clients. Critical, and the part we always take for granted. And then, what are our systems for when we're closing with our client and for right after the closing? And for feedback. Feedback is so important to creating a great experience, and we're going to talk about that on this call. Finally, my favorite thing, the +1. There's a great book by Ken Blanchard called Raving Fans. And the whole concept of the book is very easy. You can read it in about 2 hours, is how do I delight my customers so that they have a positive emotional memory about their experience working with me. And the +1 is finding an opportunity to do something above and beyond their expectations that really just delights them and makes you unforgettable and makes them want to refer you, makes them compelled to refer you to their friends and family. It's the magic. It's that special thing, and yes, that magical special thing can be systemized as well, and should be, frankly. So, speaking of communication patterns, one of the things that's important, because this is a lead generation tool, this isn't rainbow, sunshine, and unicorns, this is all about growing our business through service. And one of the things that I want to share with you guys is Mike Hicks' promise. He's been on stage several times with Gary. I'm in Gary Keller's mastermind. Gary has had this guy sit next to us, repeat the script to us, and told us Mike is a genius. So we're going to dissect the promise in our program. If you guys are interested in the promise, email me after the call, and I'm more than happy to send the script to you. But we're going to really dissect it and understand why it's so powerful in the program. My point on this is that he has a script called the promise that everybody in his office has memorized. And listen to this, guys. They're doing over 400 sales this year. Over 90% are repeat and referral. They spend exactly $0 on marketing. In fact, this script is so strong and they all commit to it so well and are so intentional about it in their office. I want to make sure I get this number right. 78% of their clients refer them business before they've closed. 78% of those 400 sales, 78% of their clients are referring them a client before they've even closed. That's astounding. Before the closing, they're getting referrals. So obviously, we'd love for you to register for this class, and when you do so, even if you don't, email me and I'll give you a copy of this script. It's too much to go over in half an hour, but I'm happy to make it available to you, and more importantly, we'll talk about why it's so strong when we're in the class. But it is part of a systemized communication pattern to increase referral business, which is what this is about. Okay, very good. So, systems are critical, and you guys may think this is hilarious and laugh at me a little bit, and that's okay. Our systems are all checklist based, which I know is funny. In 2016, we're still using a checklist. But here's what's important. Everything is systemized, and there's a ton of communication. Communication is how you win the battle with service. If you look at this checklist, it's a checklist for what we do with the client during the first 4 days after they list with us. They are contacted 12 times in 4 days. The communication is so incredible. The future pacing is so incredible. The expectation setting is so incredible. It's so consistent. People are so happy that they've listed with us after they've gone through this process. When I take back over as the listing agent, or one of the listing agents our team does, we have massive credibility with our clients, and they're already starting to enjoy that 10-plus experience that they were looking for and that we talked about at our listing presentation. Now, I want to talk about how important feedback is, and Ken Blanchard has written many books, not just raving fans, but they say that breakfast is the feedback of champions. And it's the most important meal of the day, because without feedback, we don't know if we're delivering on creating an amazing customer experience for our client. We don't know where the gaps are in the service that we're providing, or the failures that we have in our communication, the results. And so what's so important about feedback is you get that feedback in, and I'll be sharing several examples in our program of how you get great feedback and how it can profoundly impact the referral rate on your business. But like everything else, it needs to be systemized. And here's an example of what we do, and we dissect this again in the program, and you get all the feedback forms as well as all of our checklists in the program. But we want to know, how do we do? And you'll notice that there are some qualitative questions on the right-hand side. What were your agent's strengths? Where could the agent improve? And some quantitative questions as well, rating us on a scale of 1 to 5 on several different topics or questions. And what that does is it enables us to quantify, measure our ability to deliver on great experience. And that's what good feedback does. It gives you numbers that you can benchmark and measure and improve. And that's when you know you can start creating an amazing client experience. So let's talk about referrals. That's why we're in the business. That's why Gary says, in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, staying in relationship with your database is the #1 way to get more business. So you work your butt off creating an amazing experience for your clients. Well, don't ruin it. You just did all the hard work acquiring and retaining the client, acquiring and servicing the client. Now you want to retain them, and you want to stay in relationship with them after the closing. It's a lot more cost effective than spending money on online lead generation. So where's the referral magic? That's right, the MREA's 33 touch. Gary's got it figured out for us. So if the goal is 1 sale for every 6 Mets in our database, and that's that 2:12 ratio that he talks about, we need to touch them 33 times. What's a touch? Phone call, email, mail, sponsorship, postcards, newsletters, meeting up for coffee or lunch, whatever. They're all touches, and we need to find out what works best for you. But there's one piece that has to be there, and that is systematic database calls. It's non-negotiable. And the Referrals for Life program, group coaching program, is a great complement to this one to learn how to systemize your database phone calls. We implemented that a year ago, and our business has changed dramatically. So this is technically a prospecting system. It's just a lot more enjoyable. It requires a lot less skill, and there's a lot less friction associated with it. Here's our 33 Touch program, and we go into this in detail on the program in the group coaching call. We do 12 video emails that are updates on the market, just real kind of high protein data and information interpretation of what's going on. 12 video emails that are interesting stories or promotion or announcements for our events. 12 postcards, 4 client events, which we talk about in depth, and the requisite 4 phone calls. So excluding our social media efforts, we're touching our client 44 times over the period of a year, and we have seen our referrals explode since we did this. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip the fan club so we have time for Q&A. I also am happy to share with you that when we do this program, I will be interviewing one of the other agents in Gary's Top 100 Mastermind group that has an incredibly strong repeat and referral-based business that holds customer service and customer experience at the cornerstone of their business model. So you can hear from one of the best in the business how they're running their referral business at a high level. So when we're on the program, we take 2 weeks starting with the basics, and that's all about mindset and communication, as well as defining what customer experience is and is not. We then quickly move to the nuts and bolts of systemizing highly referable service. That's where we roll up our sleeves and really dig in to overhaul your processes. After that, we talk about the fun stuff, and that's where we're going to do your fan club, your 33 touch client events. We'll be doing some crowdsourcing, talking about executing on it. We'll be doing some high-level interviews with some people, and then we'll talk about who your client experience officer is, CEO, what their role is, and how you hold them accountable. So what do you get with this class? The right mindset, first and foremost, which is absolutely critical because everything starts between the ears, and you guys know that if you're on this call. You'll get everything that's part of our customer experience system, all of our checklist, all of our scripts, all of our dialogues, all of our regular mail, and our snail mail and our email templates, all of our feedback forms, all of our communication standards, and all of our service standards that we hold each other accountable to. We'll outline exactly how we do our 33 touch and give you the option of being on our email drip so you can see how simple these video emails can be and how profoundly they can create an impact immediately in your business. We'll talk about client events, how we do them, why we structure them the way we do, and what the impact is of those. And we'll talk about accountability practices, not around production, that's a different phone call, but we'll talk about how we do accountability around service and put some real bite into it so that everybody, not the producers, but everybody is invested in creating a great experience. And we'll talk about the CEO, the Chief Experience Officer's job description and her or his role in providing a high level of accountability. And then we'll also go over an entire call on how do you provide high-level fiduciary service and best practices around that to make sure it isn't just having the client feel good, you're also delivering and outperforming, because that's a really important part of a great fiduciary. So that's what you get, as well as our communication cheat sheets, which is pretty fun, and the skills and the roadmap, obviously, to get your increases, your rolling in a short period of time. So that's the scoop. I want to make sure I saved some time here for you guys before we get off the call. And before I go to any questions and answers, I did want to let you know that we are offering a 20% discount on the group coaching program, Jaw-Dropping Customer Experience, for the first 25 people who register. So when you register, enter the coupon code or the discount code SAVE20. That's S-A-V-E 20. SAVE20 for a 20% discount for the first 20 people that register for our program. So we got about 6 minutes here, guys. What questions can I answer for you about the program or about anything that we've gone over today? I'm here to help. It's okay. You don't have to be shy. I promise I won't bite. Who's got a question?
Peter, hey, it's Chris. It looks like Alice Bishop has a question. I'm going to unmute her and let her ask it.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, Alice, what can I answer for you? Alice, can you hear me? I think Alice may not be online after all, Chris. Let's see here. Let me mute Alice. Anybody else have a hand raised that I can answer a question for?
Other than that, we can get to some of these typed-in questions, Peter. We've got, for Andrea, what is an example of a systematic +1 to delight your client?
That's a great question, Andrea. One of the things that we like to do is, actually, let me use a different one. Yeah, I'll use this one. If you guys have seen Saria Finkelstein, she's on Laurie Reeder's team in Florida, and they do an incredible business. Saria is her top buyer's rep, and the system is very simple. She keeps a red carpet in the trunk of her car, and right before the buyer walkthrough, she rolls the red carpet out between the front door of the house and the curb. And so when her clients come up, they actually walk the red carpet to go into their new home for the walkthrough. And it's just a wonderful special experience. She takes their picture on the red carpet in front of their home, texts them the photo, and it's just a great feel-good moment that they'll never forget as long as they live. Another one that we do that we think is really fun is once our clients have gotten through the inspection process, there's that kind of 2 to 3 week period where things are very quiet and it's mostly up to the banks and the title companies to finish the sale. What we do is we mail our clients a microwave popcorn bag, some candy, and a letter that basically says, congratulations, you've been doing a lot of heavy lifting, you're now through the inspections, please, oh, and I'm sorry, a discount code, a coupon code for the Red Box, those movie rental things by the grocery stores. And the letter says something along the lines of, congratulations, you've made it through all the heavy lifting of your home transaction. Tonight, just kick your feet up on the couch and have a movie and popcorn on us and enjoy a day off. It costs us about $3.50, including postage, and the response that we get for something so unexpected from our clients is fantastic. And that is something that's systemizable. We have all these envelopes pre-filled, all the candy is there, all the discount codes are there, the letters are typed and signed. We just drop them and send them out the day after the inspections are cleared.
Great. Peter, can you back the slide up one so folks can see the registration link? We've got a few questions asking people where to go. Perfect. Sure. Let's go to another question. Can you give us, let me get this out of the way, can you give us an example of a script that brings referrals before the closing?
Yes, and in fact that's exactly what the Mike Hicks promise is all about, is yielding a referral before the closing. And it's a full page. It takes a little bit of time to dig into, but Chris, it's basically you ask your client when you first kind of sign with them, hey, look, we're really intentional about providing an amazing experience, and all we ask in return is that you refer us somebody before we close. And they say, yep, no problem, got it. And you say, well, what I'm saying is you're going to refer us. You're going to do that, right? And they say, yep. And we say, okay, great. So here's the deal. If you haven't referred us by the time we're at the closing table and we're all signing papers and we're all smiling, if you haven't referred us, I'm going to assume that we did something wrong, and then I'm going to ask you to give me some feedback on what we could have done better to have earned that referral. And what it does, Mike, and this is the genius of it, is it introduces accountability around the client referring you before you've closed. So there's going to be an accountability session at the closing table about why they didn't refer. And either you're accountable for not delivering on a great experience, or they're accountable on not referring you when they said that they did, and it's brilliant. Now I'm seeing a couple people are asking questions about how do you register for the program. The program starts tomorrow. The first call is at noon Central Standard. And if you go to mapscoaching.kw.com/cx, that's where you register. It's $297, but the first 25 people that enter the discount code SAVE20 will save 20% on that registration fee. And everybody, I'll give you my email address. I'll enter it right now in case you would like a copy of the promise. It's peter@teamchabris.com, and I've just posted it there in the questions box. Just shoot me an email if you would like to have a copy of that script. Okay, we're about done here, Chris. We've got another minute or two. Are there any other questions that I can answer for anybody? Deborah, you have a question. Do you help teams that are smaller? Yes. This program is not just for monster beast teams. It can be you and an assistant, and if you're both on the phone call, you will get a ton from this. We always talk in Keller Williams about teams, and the reason I speak to that larger business model is because I know if I speak to that business model, everybody will get something out of it. But there's a lot of information in here for everybody. Even people that are working individually, you will still get a ton of material from this to make sure you're more systematic in delivering that experience. And should you choose to scale with leverage, you'll know exactly which pieces you're going to give to somebody else or what systems that you should be using. Agnes, the next class is going to be in, well, Chris, I think we're doing it, it starts in January of next year.
Yeah, I was just writing on that one, probably January or February, and just reminding everybody that all the sessions are recorded, and you have access to the materials 60 days after the very last session, and so you can sign up now and take advantage of this discount and still go at your own pace over the next, basically, 4 months. So that is an option for you guys who are currently taking other programs.
You know, Chris, Dan has asked a very good question here. If I can just take one more second here. Dan, you said in here, do you need to have a team to provide jaw-dropping customer experience? Absolutely not. And does it have to be 24/7? Absolutely not. In fact, one of the things that we talk about a lot in this program is the concept of future pacing and setting expectations with client. In fact, I just got back from a listing appointment. I haven't taken a phone call from a client on a weekend unless it's regarding an offer that's come in over 6 years. So absolutely, as long as you know how to communicate and set expectations with your client, absolutely do not have to be on 24/7, because that's a real fast way to grind yourself up and start resenting yourself, your clients, and the industry, or excuse me, and the business. And this is a great business, and you don't want to be there. Very good. So everybody, thank you. I sent my email address. If you would, just shoot me an email if you would like a copy of Mike's script. More importantly, if you're interested in the program, please register. We're going to explain why that script is so effective, how to create an amazing referral-based business, and really try and double your choose to double your referral business in the course of about 12 years. I can't tell you, we are in September in Cincinnati. Usually the market's slowing down. I have 5 listing appointments today, 2 tomorrow, and 4 on Wednesday in September, and it's because our phones are ringing off the hook right now with people that are being referred to us. This stuff works. It's just a little bit more subtle and takes a little bit more time to germinate than an expired or for sale by owner. So I'd love to see you guys tomorrow. First class starts at 12 o'clock Central. Thank you all so much for participating. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you got something from this call.
Thanks, Peter. We sure appreciate you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.